about what people say no more. Because everybody gonna fucking critique everything that you do, no matter what you do. That shit will creep into your mind, no matter if you believe it or not.
It's wasted energy.
Yeah, it's wasted energy.
What up, world? Live on that with Mr. Be Great today, Lamar King Sr. Glad y'all tapped in with me. Got a author-to-author conversation. Got the great author Bonnie Mackey on the show. Y'all help welcome me to the show. Welcome to the show, B Mack.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's Mackey, y'all.
Mackey.
I know
I'm
everybody.
sorry.
Everybody getting confused, but it's Mackey.
Mackey, gotcha. Well, I give everybody the opportunity to introduce themselves. Tell us where you're from and all that good stuff. So, introduce yourself, B Mack.
Well, I'm known as B Mack, but I'm really mostly known as Bonnie Mackey. I'm not even gonna say the little town I'm from, but I'm gonna just say where I live at, and that's St. Louis, Missouri. If y'all haven't been, place with the arch.
Gotcha.
And I'm 27, married, mom of 2, and I'm a first-time author / clothing designer / marketer / whatever you want me to be.
Okay. The jack of all trades. Gotcha.
Basically.
Gotcha. What's the name of the little town? I'm from a small town too. Don't be ashamed of your little town. Where you from? Exactly.
Man, I ain't ashamed. Nobody just never know what it is. It's like I say it. It's like cricket noises. But if I say the city, then everybody know what St. Louis is. But it's Sykeston. If you ever had to ride through the Boot Hill, you'll probably pass and see Lambert's. So if you ever been to Lambert's, the restaurant where they throw the rolls at you, then that's where I'm from.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Milledgeville, Georgia, which I get the same response from people when I tell them, you from Georgia? You must be from Atlanta. I'm like, no, yep. I'm from Milledgeville, but everybody knows Atlanta. So
yeah, well, I used to stay in Atlanta, so really? Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. So, when did you realize? When did you know you was an author? When did you know that writing was your thing? You knew you was going to take this to the next level and start self-publishing your own books.
Well, I knew I was a writer when I was in 2nd grade. I actually wrote a book, and it was supposed to get published, but my mom, we always bounced around. We moved a lot, so I never got to go through the full process. But my teacher, she saw how passionate I was about writing, so she would let me go on the computer and just type up my book during downtime, and it was an everyday thing up until I moved. So I always knew it then. And then I tried to pursue just like writing my own little books in high school. But, folks don't really keep that that computer protection on their laptops or their desktops. So when that computer crashed, my stuff crashed with it.
Gotcha. I've been through that many of times myself because I did music at one point. And man, you fill that computer up and then you can't get it back running and all your material is gone.
Yeah, it's gone. So, wiped away. So I gave it a break. I started focusing on other stuff. And then I just was chopping it up with my husband and we was spitting off ideas pretty much. And I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and start back writing. And I lost my dad, and then that's what really pushed me to go ahead and finish it. But I had started my book in 2020. I just was going through a lot of stuff mentally. My son had got diagnosed with autism, so that kind of took me back a little bit. And I was just going through a lot with that. So, but after losing my dad, it kind of was like that engine I needed to keep pushing. I ain't want to leave this world. And I done worked hard on that and never got it out. So that was it.
No doubt. I my condolences to you.
Thank you.
And I know coming from a small town. So what was it like coming? What was it like for you growing up? To now you're an author. Now you've gone on to live out some of those dreams and goals that you inspired since the 2nd grade. But coming up, what was it like for you, especially in a small town on the outskirts of St. Louis?
Well, I moved around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm from there, but I'm really not from there, if that makes sense. Like that
Mm-hmm.
was always where we went back to, but I lived a lot of places. Washington, Memphis, St. Louis, one point of time before now. Um Shoot, I done lived a lot of places. So it was kind of like I had to adapt everywhere I went.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere I went, I had to make a new friend. I had to learn a new system, and then it'll be gone just as fast. So
Yeah, I got you. That I think that builds character. Being in multiple places, seeing that it's a big old world out here. I tell my listeners often that it's a big world out here, and a lot of times, especially coming from a small town, you get caught up in small town activity, small town
hmm
thinking, and you fail to realize that it's a big world out here, and it's much more to it than the next city over or even the next state over. So I commend you, and I know it only made you a better person who you are today, a better wife, a better businesswoman, a better mother, and all that good stuff. So you're the proud author of, the Sunshine State series, which the book one has already been released, correct?
correct.
All right. So when did you initially release book one of the Sunshine State series?
So I initially released it in July. Don't quote me on the date. I just know July. Like I pretty much was moving out of grief, so I was getting it done, and that was that. I was ready to get it done, and I got it out. But that's when I initially published it, and I initially started writing it in 2020.
Okay, gotcha. And I know doing it because I'm an author myself, and I think I had my book on my iPad for probably 2 years before I actually put it out myself. And so, and I got a lot of people who come to me after me dropping my book, Be Great Today, back in 2021. And they often ask me like, hey, Lamar, how do you write a book? How did you do it? What was your process? What's your writing style? And some people are like, well, I can't type, or I have to write it down, or I got to use some type of vocal, notation. So what was your process in writing your book? Were you a person that would use pen and paper and then transfer it over to digital, or do you type, or like, how is your process when you started writing your book?
So my process was I started off like physically writing it. But once I transferred it over to the desktop, laptop, whatever, when you look back at your work, right? Your mindset when you initially write it won't be the same when you go back to look at it, unless you just fully saying this is it. Like if you writing it now and you finna put it out now, then cool. But when you start off, you're gonna have a different mindset in a different way you wanted the book to go when you first start. So I wrote it at first, and then when I finally got on the computer, I changed a lot. And then I even changed during the editing. Like when I was about to release it, I still changed more stuff because I went back and read it. And I'm a big reader, so I know what I'm looking for when I'm reading a book. So when I'm writing my book, I know, like, I'm looking at it from outside eyes versus as the person that's writing it.
I got you.
So, but I did a lot of, as far as like my character development and things like that, I did a lot of research. I listened to different languages. Just research kind of like the area, even though it's fiction, like it's made up, but I still wanted to have an idea of what I was piggybacking off of, like the city, the area, the people. So I did a lot of research and a lot of listening, and just took down notes. But at the end of the day, when I'm writing, I tend to just go off what's in my head versus what I done wrote down.
Yeah, and just like I can take that, because like I said, I had my book. It took me about 2 years because I'm a big procrastinator. I'm getting better. Yeah. I'm getting better at it now. I would say the pandemic was kind of like the birthing process of my book, because I had time to sit down and, I had nothing but time. We were on lockdown, so I couldn't do too much. So all I had time was to work on my book and put it all together. go through the process of putting it out. And I can attest to when you say, like, I wrote this maybe a year ago, and now I'm at a different space, different mindset, different space mentally in life. So now it's changed a little bit. And even though my book is more of a self-help book, even the way I view life can change based on my experiences. And it's okay. And I tell my listeners often that if you learn new information that open your eyes to a certain, situation that you necessarily didn't believe or adhere to it at one point, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to switch gears and say, okay, well, I like this way now. And that just shows the growth in you, because we're so accustomed to sticking to our guns. I'm just going to do it this way. This is the way it's always been. And that shows, strength in yourself, that to be able to put together a project when you're changing as a person, and you're going and you're doing the research, you're even researching cities, as you said, to determine, okay, making sure the whole scene is right. And hats off to you, because that just gives a lot of my listeners who may want in the business of writing a book, who may want to put a book out, that gives you an idea of what you got to do to be successful and get a good project out. And I know you spoke earlier about the loss of your father. You said, I think you said you lost him in June, and again, my condolences to you. But how did that, that drastic change in your life, help create B Mack, the author?
It caused a lot of self-reflection, really, because my dad, he was just so about getting to the money and moving around or whatever. He was a truck driver at the time, and he didn't slow down. He didn't make time for nothing. And it's like, I look at it as like, you did all that getting to the money, and now you gone. Like, you didn't get to spend time with your grandkids as much as you thought you could have, because he always said, I got time. You know what I'm saying? I'm young, I got enough time, but you just never know what's going to happen. And he died the week of my first wedding anniversary. So it just was a lot. I couldn't really celebrate a year prior. We was just together, and I was waiting all year to get to that date to celebrate my union, and then I get to the weekend, I'm grieving. So it just was a lot with that. I didn't want to do all that work, and I didn't have nothing to show for it. Like, not saying it like that, like, he got family and all that to show grandkid. Well, yeah, he got new grandbabies now. At the time, it was just my two, and now since he's been gone, it's been a birth of my niece and my nephew on the way. But you just doing all that work, and it's just like, it's for nothing. I didn't want all that typing and stressing and research to be for nothing.
Yeah, and that's the whole premise of this show is be great today. And we always think we got time. We always think, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow, or I'll do it next week, or I got time to finish that book. I got time to spend time with my family. But my motto is be great today, because every day I wake up is today. No matter if we call it Sunday or we call it, holiday weekend, it's today. And whatever you want to get done, you can't put off what you can do today for tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes in my eyes, because every day I wake up is today. And I went through something similar, the death of my brother, that showed me that, hey man, time waits for no one. And it's hard to, take those tragic events and take, the death of loved ones, sometimes even broken relationships, broken friendships, to, we'll get wallow in our pity. We'll have that pity party. You're like, woe is me. Why is this happening to me? And to see yourself to take that pain and turn it into a purpose, it's a beautiful thing. And we speak about that so often here on Our Must Be Great Today, because it's all about shifting that mindset. It's all about, because one thing we know in life that we're gonna do is die. But still, regardless of that, it seems like we're never prepared for it though. It seems like regardless that we know that one day my life is gonna come to an end, my loved ones' lives are gonna come to an end, but when it comes, we never seem to be prepared for it. And that's what brings on depression. That brings on anxiety, locking yourself away, and those pity parties. But to see yourself take that pain and take that discomfort and that uncomfortable moment and birth it into a book, something that's going to outlast you. And that's a beautiful thing. And hats off to you in your efforts as you continue this journey in this this whole author lifestyle. So let's talk about the book somewhat. I just started your book. I really haven't got deep into it, but I have started it. The Sunshine State, the first book, which is by far, I want to talk about some of the opening passages that I read, and it was talking about how the school, the prison pipeline type thing, how school seems to be like prison. So is that your take on how the school system is in this country, or is that just a part of the plot in the book?
No, that's my take on it.
Okay.
I mean, but we gotta send the kids. They got to do it. Whether you do it at home or you send them to school, they gotta do it. It's a part of the process. But and I want to say, I ain't want to skip over it. I do want to say my condolences to you, and congratulations for getting your book out as well, because it is a hard journey. I ain't want to skip over that.
Oh yeah.
I just would have felt bad if I did, I didn't say that back then.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, I definitely look at it like that. I mean, when you think about it, what you doing? Like you got to be there at a certain time. You got to be doing exactly what they tell you to do. You got to sit down. You can't get up. You got to raise your hand and go use the bathroom. They say no, that's it.
Yeah.
What they say in jail, lights out.
Yeah, yeah. No doubt.
So, and I just feel like the school system is not really set up for you to. It's not really set up for you to be great. Because at the end of the day, they is in charge of what you learn.
Yeah.
And they can make you learn whatever they want you to learn.
Yeah.
And it's up to you whether you soak it up or you want to go research more on your own, or you just don't take nothing from it. But I just feel like, especially high schools, it should be geared more towards what you want to do, like what you see yourself as. I feel like it should be more financial literacy classes.
Yeah.
A lot of us, we don't know about credit, and we ain't got in our mindset that at 18 your kids got to be gone, and I just feel like that shouldn't be it either. Because at 18 you don't know nothing. You don't have no credit. Like a lot of our people's, no disrespect to anybody, but a lot of our peoples ain't teaching us about no credit in high school. So you getting out of school, you getting that new iPhone. You know what I'm saying? You making payments on it. The new iPhone come out. Guess what you finna do? You finna go upgrade. Now you still making them payments on. You never paying that phone off. You know what I'm saying? And then when you decide you don't want to pay that bill no more, guess what? Now you done messed up your credit. You got to go to the Arabs, get your phone unlocked. You know what I'm saying? You got to take it over to Metro PCS or whoever, Boost or whoever. Yeah. And you just in the game. You stuck.
And that's interesting that you say that in that whole scenario, because I think school, and as I was reading that, as I started reading your book, actually today, it dawned on me, it's like school teaches us how to be employees and how to go to work, supposedly get a pension, retire, get a gold watch, and die. In essence, get student loan debt, all that stuff, and again. If you choose that route, I got a son. He's a college kid. He's doing the college route. He's doing that whole route for himself. I got another son that's in going to trade school, going to get a trade, and which either route, whichever suits you, great. But to have the mindset to say, okay, I've been taught this for 12, 13 years that I got to get good grades. I got to go to college. And I get me a good job. Whoop, whoop. But what made you and how did your mindset shift to say, well, you know what, I'm going to start me a clothing brand. I'm going to start me a series of books. Because after being trained that way for so long, after being trained to say, hey, you got to do it this way, how did you shift your mindset or have the presence of mind to say, well, I'm going out here on this limb and take a chance on myself? How did that all transpire?
I always wanted to be something. Honestly, I never really wanted to, like, I never really wanted to do the whole school thing. I was really good at school though. That's the funny thing. Like, I was pretty much an A/B student, sometimes straight A student. I just couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand being there. The only thing I did like was world history. I love world history. But in English class, I excelled in that class. I was always in AP writing. And I'm gonna give that to my mama, because when I get in trouble, she would make me write essays. I would have to read a book, Iyanla Van Zant or Malcolm X or whatever she choose, or an article, and I would have to read it, do a whole thing, a whole outline, rough draft. I have to go let her proofread that, and then go back and do the final draft. Then I have to read it out to it. Like, so that was kind of like embedded in my brain to write. So I don't know. I just never really like. And I love babies. I thought I wanted to be an OBGYN. No, once I figured out you had to be a GYN to be an OBGYN. So, that kind of was like a turn off for me. But for real, whenever I've been with my husband since we were 15, 16 years old. So
wow.
When we had his job kind of like overlapped with mine, where I had to resign. And so I was just at home, and we was fortunate enough to have extra money, and he was like, whatever you want to do, I'll pay for you to get it done. And then that's where I was at with it. I always used to design too when I was younger. Like, I would try to draw up clothes. I had miniature little fashion designer things where you could just create like little small versions of clothes or whatever. And my mom, she's very artistic. She gets down with it. She the one who made my book cover. So I just kind of had that embedded in me, like just creative. So I knew I didn't really want to do too much of that schooling. I actually got a degree in building and coding. A 3.5 GPA, but I didn't want to do that. I just did it because my granny was like, you should do this. Yeah, you should go to school for this. I did it. I graduated. I got my cap, but that's not what I want to do. Yeah. So that's just, and I feel like schools, once they hit high school, teach them whatever they got to learn in elementary school. But, basic math and all that. But high school, I feel like electives should be more so getting them into something they want to do, whether they want to be a welder or, a cosmetologist or a nurse or whatever. And there's schools out there like that. Yeah. But I feel like it needs to be more. It don't need to be where they got to catch a bus and go to a trade school to learn it. Yeah. It needs to be in the schools.
And I totally agree, because even like art, music, a lot of those programs and electives, they don't exist anymore. I think it's all based on, I don't know, everything's got so politically correct. It's like no time to, recess. Even recess is not a real thing anymore, so to speak. Kids don't go outside anymore. They don't use that childlike imagination. And I think we're conforming them to be, I hate to say it, but robots or minions to the point where you're going to be good employees and just work this capitalist system. But it works. If it works for you, great. But it's so much more. And I talked about it in previous shows that's why sometimes there's a divide between the entrepreneurs and the 9-to-5ers. And, entrepreneurs may feel a certain, I couldn't work a 9-to-5. And then the 9-to-5ers like, well, I got bills to pay. I need a check every week. But I think when you start believing in yourself and you start betting on yourself and you're saying, you know what, and you have to have the right support system around you. Of course, you got to have, like you said, your husband has been a major support system in your life, and you got to have those elements to step out there and face sometimes. But if you don't, I feel like you should believe in yourself enough to say, hey, I got this. I've gotten this far, and I haven't gotten this far by being no dummy. So why not use the skills and the life experiences I've went through in life and do something for me? If I can get up and go work, 40, 60, 80 hours a week for a corporation, why can I work 40, 60, 80 hours a week for myself? Right. And I guarantee you the rate of return is going to be so much higher when you're doing for yourself. It's going to take a lot more work, and it's probably not going to pay off so much in the beginning. And I think we're so accustomed to instant gratification that we don't want to plant those seeds that's going to, bring out big harvests years. Because I'm telling you, like this book, like your series of books, Sunshine State, like this book will surpass you in life. This book is going to be here long after you're gone. It's going to be on Amazon for the rest of its life, your life, your kids' life, regardless. And that's what really made me inspired, because one of my favorite books, Think and Grow Rich, it was written in the 20s by Napoleon Hill. It was written in the 20s. And this book is still one of the #1 selling books in the world in 2023. And this book has paid for his great grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
So the words are powerful, and I'm a big fan of writing down my goals. I'm a big avid reader, just like yourself. What are some of the things that you use in your routine throughout the day? I know you said you're a big reader, or you're a big goal writer. What are some of the things or the rituals or routines you use to help you be a successful entrepreneur, author, mother, and wife?
Woo. Getting up every day, because that's basically the main part of my routine. Is you gotta get up and you gotta be like, this is what I'm gonna do today. Mm-hmm. Or I'm at least attempt to do it. And I don't write goals. No, I don't write them, but I do talk them. Like, mm-hmm. I talk about them with my husband every day. We got like a big open communication. So anything, like any plans or anything like that come to my mind, creative wise or just period, like I just talk to him about it. Mm-hmm. And he kind of, even if he don't plant the seed, he water it. And anything I want to do, like he helps me figure it out if I don't figure it out on my own first. Because we feed off each other. Our minds are it's constantly running. I don't know. But what I do, I'll take a note though. Like I won't write a goal, but I'll take a note, mm-hmm. if that makes sense. Like it's not like this is what you want to do, this is what you're gonna do type of thing. Like
I got you.
More, yeah. Like I dream a lot of my book detail, like a lot of my book ideas. So if I wake up from a dream, I know that's just like, yeah, this would be, I don't know, it's kind of like I'm watching a movie versus dreaming it. And so I just take notes. And that's a main thing I do. So even if I don't get to it today, I can go back to that note and see like how I wanted this book to go. I might change it. Like I said, mm-hmm. I might not have the same mindset I had when I initially wrote it down. But I just go back to it and feed off of it. So that's another thing. And being a wife and a mom, it just come natural. So I just go with it and I make time. If I can't make time to type today, I'm gonna make it to type tomorrow. But I'm gonna get around to it. Another thing is, like, I'm kind of like a person, I can step away from my book for days, but when I sit there and do it, I can type for hours.
Gotcha. Well, I'm gonna put a challenge to you, B Mack. I need you to start writing your goals down. I need you to I need to get you a journal. I'm serious, because I'm a firm believer, and again, different strokes for different folks. But we have a lot going on. Your mother, your wife, your author, and you'll forget some stuff. And that's why I'm a firm, and I know I have ideas. I listen to a lot of Les Brown. He said, man, if we wrote down 10 ideas a day, that's 70 ideas a week. That's, you do the math. You got so many different ideas throughout the year and all it takes is one. But if you don't write them down, you may forget them. So let's try to implement them. Just try it. I ain't saying that you got to revamp your whole routine.
I get it. This stuff my husband tells me all the time. Like he big on writing like lists and goals or whatever. Mm-hmm. But me, I just be like, I just gonna go with it. Yeah. Whatever come to my head. Then he always tell me you need to start writing goals, but yeah, I don't know.
Let's try it. Just get. I challenge you to. I just challenge you to give it a try and see how it works out. Because I'm a firm believer that if you write it down, just like your book, If you put it on paper, everything we do, when we buy our cars, we buy a home, we even go to the store and buy, merchandise, we're going to get a receipt. It's going to be on paper. So everything that we do in life is on paper. And I feel like a lot of times we don't write our goals and our plans and our strategic ways of doing things and walking life. We don't write them down. We kind of go by chance, and we do well with that. But I think we get a little bit more strategic and a little bit more tactical about life. We'll execute a lot more and be a lot more effective. But in closing, man, I have a lot of inspiring young authors that tune into the show. Any advice that you would have, that you could give to the young author, someone who's planning to launch a book, who may have a book on their iPad or just on their laptop, as you and I have done? What is some advice that you can give to the young inspiring authors?
My main advice would be, I got a few, but my main one would be, whatever you want to do, whatever that idea is for your book, just keep adding to it. Even if you're going to change it at the end, just keep adding to it. It can only get better. Critique yourself. Don't let nobody know too much about your book until you're ready to put it out. Because you never know. You never know who's preying on your downfall. You never know who will take your idea. And even if they don't care to write no book, they'll still take it and do whatever they want to it or give it to somebody else. And, take pride in your work. Take pride in your work. Be proud of what you wrote down and how far you've come, even if you don't put it out when you thought you was gonna put it out. This is your work. This is your art. This is gonna be here way after you gone, and that's what's more important. Like, if you happy with it, then everything else will come along. Somebody gonna read it.
Yeah.
It might not be your peers. For real, it be the people that you never spoke to, never seen. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never met you in my life, but we here now.
That's right.
And it'll be those people that you ain't never seen, never met, never had said hello, goodbye to, that'll support you more than your peers. Don't rely on your peers. That's my main thing. Don't look to your peers for, you just don't look to them. Think about yourself, what you want, and everything else will follow.
Hey, that's some good stuff, because I tell people, the wealthy people, they get wealthy off strangers. They don't get wealthy off friends and family, which of course friends and family are going to support, and some are not, and some will start in the beginning and won't last all the way through. But you can't rely on friends and family.
And network.
Yeah,
network. Gotta network. I network everywhere I go. I don't care if I'm at a dispensary. I'm networking.
Gotcha.
Be your own business card.
So where can they find you? Where you at on social media? Drop them social media plugs. On
Instagram, the real THEREAL _ Bonnie BONNIE. Twitter, the real Bonnie M _ Facebook, just Bonnie Mackey. And you can find the book on Amazon.com. Sunshine State, B-Mac. If you just type B-Mac, I'll probably just come up. TikTok. What is TikTok? The real Bonnie Mackey. I'm trying to use that TikTok, child. That TikTok make me feel old. But for real, once you get to one social media site, you'll find me on everything else. I promise.
Gotcha. Well, we sure appreciate having you on the show. Y'all make sure y'all go get that book. Well, she got the book 2 is dropping March 23rd, Sunset. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Book 1 is already out on all platforms, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all that good stuff. I appreciate you on the show, B-Mac. You got to come back again once we get. Let's have another sit down on the 23rd when the new book drops.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank y'all listeners. I appreciate it so much. Y'all tune in to the next episode for sure.
Gotcha. Hey man, y'all make sure y'all go cop that book. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and y'all already know. Be great today. Peace.
You can't really give a fuck about what people say no more. Because everybody gonna fucking critique everything that you do, no matter what you do. That shit will creep into your mind, no matter if you believe it or not.
It's wasted energy.
Yeah, it's wasted energy.